These are the stories making the headlines in the Hot 7 Nightly News.
A 9-year-old boy is almost kidnapped on his way from school. His grandmother speaks to us about the shocking ordeal. A grieving father gets candid on the reality of youth choosing a life of crime and dying by the gun following his son's death.
You make them, you don't make the choice to be on the road.
And the former St. Lucia High Commissioner to the United Kingdom says the island should brace for intense scrutiny by the British government following the death of a British national. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovely and Amy Joseph.
It is Wednesday, the 16th of January 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News on Flow Channel 117 and simulcast on Kiss FM. I am Lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A shocking incident has been reported by a family of Cicero. A primary school boy reportedly fled from a masked individual who tried to kidnap him as he made his way home from school. The boy, 9 years old, a student of the Cicero RC Combined School. The child's grandmother stated that she heard him screaming and saw him running toward the house. He frantically told her that a man had tried to grab him, but that he struggled and ran off. She further stated that the boy lost his lunch bag in the scuffle to get away because the masked man had grabbed hold of it. The child is said to have received scratches on his arms.
I can't even express how I feel because to make it matters worse, the individual in question was masked as well, and that probably terrified the child. And to me, it's just so unbelievable to believe something like that is really reaching to me now. You know, I hear of certain things on the news, but to hear of this happening right at my door, it's unbelievable. I would say to any parent now who has children in question, especially the younger ones, be very vigilant. Don't let them walk home alone, walk in groups. Anything they see, report it to their parents, report it to the school, so we can all work together as a country. Because if that happened to me, I would like to know every child in Lucia is safe on their way home from school, wherever they may have to go. You understand?
The grandmother, still in shock, says she called the police.
The authorities, it's questionable because when it was first reported, when it had just happened, the officers asked his mom in question whether they had the person in custody. So we said no, and then they're telling her they cannot do anything because the fact that we have no one, they cannot do anything. So I told her we need to make a report to CID. She did that later on in the afternoon, and when she went there also, they asked her, when she made her report, they asking her what she wants them to do now, you know, which is, I consider to be madness because I'm coming to you with a report about a child who was into trouble in the afternoon, and now you give me that kind of answer. It's unquestionable. We're very, very much disturbed about it.
In other news, at the age of 16, 2 individuals now stand charged with murder. It relates to the death of Joachim Joseph, who was killed on the 27th of December when a stray bullet pierced through his wooden structure. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force informed Hot 7 News of the current condition of 2 victims who were also caught in the crossfire. Solange Alfred reports.
The death of Joachim Joseph of George Charles Boulevard, Marcia, came as a shock to community residents. He was hit by a stray bullet that entered through his wooden house on the night of December 27, 2018. Initial eyewitness accounts reported one gunman was seen discharging rounds of ammunition around 7:45 p.m. Acting Corporal Ann Joseph of the Police Press Relations Office provided information on the identification of 2 individuals who have been charged with the murder.
2 16-year-old residents of Grass Street, Castries, were charged for causing the death of Joachim Joseph. This incident occurred on the 27th of December 2018 at the George Charles Boulevard in Marcia. Their names are Shaquille Lionel alias Sonny and Walter Hofer alias White Boy. They are both currently remanded in custody, awaiting a sufficiency hearing in the High Court.
She noted that the occurrence of having 2 young individuals being charged with such a heinous crime is a disturbing development.
Relatively new to have 16-year-olds being charged for that offense. It has occurred in the past, but 2 individuals in a short space of time. Before there was another incident where a teenager was actually charged as well. So it is alarming.
Corporal Joseph provided an update on the male and female victim, who both sustained injuries during the incident.
They're both, since they were treated at the Victoria Hospital and they were both discharged, they're both okay for now, at least physically.
The Royal St. Lucia Police Force continues their aim to bring speedy resolve to criminal matters and wish to thank members of the public for keeping the lines of communication open.
As with majority of the offenses that we investigate, a lot of information does actually come from members of the public in the form of witness statements or just information, general information that would assist in identifying possible suspects. So yes, that was done, and we would like to continue thanking the public for their assistance in solving crimes which have occurred.
Joseph was unable to provide any particulars regarding the motive or intended target of the gunman, as the matter remains before the court. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. A grieving father gets candid on the reality of youth choosing a life of crime and dying by the gun. His son was shot on Monday night, and he says he was not surprised. The sister of the victim is also speaking out. Rochelle Gonzalez tells us more.
A stark message has been sent out to perpetrators of homicide and violent crimes, warning them that if they so choose to live by the gun, then they most likely will die by it. These are the sentiments of the father of Hendy Calderon, the island's second homicide victim for the new year. Hendrickson Herman also had a message for parents.
Maybe parents teach children well, and those that out there with that kind of crap they're doing, they will not go far. Sometimes if death will pass like family, fathers, daughters, son, we have to be more real with our children. And whatever they do out, it's wise to defend certain things they do unto others than mine. But it's just wrong. But the world is a world that very fast now. But is government that have to put piece of law on them or put camera everywhere for when things will happen, they will catch the criminal. They have too much criminal killing people innocent.
This was Herman's final memories of his son.
He was sitting down there with at least 2 or 3 friends. I don't know where the person from, where they come, but when he get the shot, he started run from that angle to he passed all day. He go and reach. Yeah, he passed all day. He grazed there because the shot already in his heart. He grazed all day. He grazed all day. He grazed all day. He sit down there. He sit down there. Yeah, and he fall there and he be doing that. I come and meet him. And the other lady was trying to help. I myself hold him too, for to see if he have life, but it's gone already. I take him, I rest him there. You can take out the blood of the little tree, but it's a painful. It not so nice. Yeah.
The sister of the deceased, who chose to speak off camera, spoke about the close and loving relationship she had with her brother.
Hendy was a very loving, caring young individual. He would always be there for me. He had my back 100. It was us, me and him. It was always the two of us, and I don't know why that happened, but I miss him, I love him, and it hurts me so bad that happened, and now I have to be alone. He was my other half. Most persons would say my twin, my child, my everything. He meant a lot to me.
The shooting occurred on Monday night at about 9:15 a.m. at Waterworks Road. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Now, a Marshall resident who is well known for his jovial and tongue-in-cheek personality is getting serious on the amount of homicides occurring in Castries East. Robert Poulbois Cauldron is pleading with the youth in and around his neighborhood to come together to remove the stigma darkening the Marsha community.
One man is pleading to the youth of Marsha to come together to rebuild their community through peace rather than to destroy it through violence. Robert Calderon is a well-known mechanic in the heart of Marsha. However, he is known even more as Paul Bois, the witty and larger-than-life entertainer. On Wednesday morning, though, Calderon spoke to Hot 7 News on a more serious note about the effects being felt by the community as a result of increasing violence in Castries East. Calderon said it is not an easy task, but he continuously and unwaveringly tries his best to be a positive influence in the lives of the youth in the neighborhood.
Try to bring the people together, talk to the young guys, try and tell them what is right, what is wrong. Some of them call me the B name, some of them blood fire me. But all what I try to do is to talk to them, to at least they could lead the right way. I in the shop there, I have other guys coming around and try and look for a little daily bread. Then them guys that are wrong me to come here and do something. Instead of that, they'll give me bad name and they try to fight me down. And all what I try to do is to try to discourage them from the kind of activities happening in the area. When you stay and you do bad, bad will follow you. You understand?
Calderon said he was born and raised in the Marsha community. He stated he can attest that the Marsha residents are not the problem of Castries East.
The early years, we could have done things that everybody would come together and do things. But nowadays, Lord, I don't know where these other guys came from. At least they really join. Majority of the things that happening in this area is not fellas really from Marsha, because I'm still in Marsha and I know the guys I raised with and things so on. You never hear nothing towards them guys. Just like me, these other people I feel are just coming and just doing things and causing the area to have an old name. I try my best in this area, from here down that block, I actually take care of that block. And any nonsense I see, I will try and stop it. You understand?
The mechanic said the negative reputation of the area is detrimental to residents and businesses. And so he called for unity and pride to restore Marsha to its former glory.
I have customers who don't even want to come to Marsha. I have to go out there and get their vehicles to repair just because of the stigma, the name they're putting out there. So I'm pleading to them young guys at least to just stop them things. Unite. Come around me. Let's do something so we could just have the area good and bring back Marsha where it was.
Calderon said he has been a resident of the Marsha community for over 40 years. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The former St. Lucian High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, is expecting there to be heightened scrutiny from the British government following the killing of British national Bob Hathaway. He says it will be interesting to see whether the Minister for National Security will address the public on how St. Lucia intends to handle this matter, given how serious of an issue it is for the British government.
Dr. Ernest Hilaire says the murder of British nationals on St. Lucian soil is always a very serious matter for the British government. During his time as the St. Lucia High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, he was faced with the fallout from the homicides of British nationals Roger Pratt and Oliver Gobar. In the case of Oliver Gobar, he says the British government made several attempts to get involved to lend expertise to the investigators, but with condition that the death penalty be taken off the table for anyone convicted. The resulting back and forth did not lessen the level of concern by the British government.
All of that shows that the British government and the British public expect the highest standards of policing and forensic work to ensure that whoever is responsible for those acts are brought to justice. It has continued to be a soft spot. With yet again another British national, unfortunately and regrettably, losing his life in St. Lucia. I'm sure it's going to revive the interest of the British government into the criminal justice system in St. Lucia.
Dr. Hilaire says there is still much work to be done to ensure the effectiveness of St. Lucia's justice system. The government has of late touted strides being made to address this, including the appointment of the Director of Public Prosecutions, additional resources for the Office of the DPP, and plans to expand the courts. But Dr. Hilaire is not buying into the hype. He says there has been no notable improvement in the local justice system.
I think you will all agree that since 2016, the criminal justice system has probably deteriorated even more in St. Lucia. We heard talk that once there was a new DPP, all those matters would have been dealt with. We're going on to a second year of the DPP, and they still have those outstanding matters. And it will be interesting to see over the next few days whether the Minister of National Security will actually address the public on how St. Lucia will deal with this matter, because certainly from our experience, we know that it is always a matter of grave concern when a national, and in particular, in this case, a British national, loses his life.
The killing of Bob Hathaway was the very first homicide of the year in St. Lucia. The British national had been living here since 2001 and became a well-known figure in the local tourism industry.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. When we come back, hear about the gun crackdown that is in the works by authorities. Solutions and suggestions are put forward on the issue of youth crime. And residents of the CDC and members of the general public call on authorities to clear garbage piles in a timely manner. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.